Amy and Ryan helped Lisa toward the exit. As they walked, she looked back at Kekthara one more time. "Huntmaster," she said, "you wanted to know what kind of predators humans are. Remember this. We're the kind that turns enemies into friends, whenever possible. But we're also the kind that never forgets when someone hurts our family." 6 months later, Dr. Lisa Carter stood in the same meeting room, but everything had changed. The space station had been converted into a joint human VEX-High research facility. Scientists from both species worked together to explore new worlds and develop new technologies. The scar on Lisa's shoulder had healed, but it remained visible, a permanent reminder of the day humanity proved they were not prey. The VEX-High had learned to respect human persistence and intelligence, while humans had learned to appreciate VEX-High strength and directness. Trade routes now connected human and VEX-High space. Young VEX-High came to human universities to learn about persistence hunting and pack behavior. Human researchers studied VEX-High biology and combat techniques. But most importantly, the VEX-High had stopped expanding through conquest. With human help, they had found dozens of empty worlds suitable for colonization. Their empire was growing. Again, but now it grew through exploration rather than destruction. Lisa had become the first human ambassador to the VEX-High Empire. Her scar was famous throughout both civilizations, proof that sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones that don't look dangerous at all. And in the galaxy beyond, other species had learned an important lesson. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The small, soft creatures from the blue world were apex predators of the highest order, not because they were the strongest or fastest, but because they were the most stubborn and loyal. The age of humanity's expansion into the Kents galaxy had truly begun, and it had started with one woman's willingness to show an enemy what real courage looked like. Huntmaster Kekthara kept a recording of that first meeting in his personal files. Sometimes, when young VEX-High warriors spoke too confidently about their strength, he would show them the recording of the small human female who allowed herself to be bitten so her species could demonstrate their true nature. "Remember," he would tell them, "the most dangerous predator is the one that chooses restraint not from weakness, but from confidence in their own power." And the galaxy was a safer place because of it. The space station's meeting room had become very quiet. Lisa Carter stood in the center, blood slowly dripping from her acid-burned shoulder, while Huntmaster Kekthara stared at her with something that might have been respect. The other VEX-High guards looked nervous, shifting from foot to foot as more and more human ships arrived in the system. "I do not understand," Kekthara said finally. "You are small and weak. Your flesh burns easily. Your claws are dull, and your teeth cannot tear metal. How can you be apex predators?" Lisa pressed her good hand against her wounded shoulder, trying to slow the bleeding. The acid had stopped eating through her flesh, but the damage was severe. Still, she remained standing. "Because being an apex predator isn't about size or strength," she replied. "It's about intelligence, persistence, and the willingness to do whatever it takes to protect your pack." Amy Foster stepped forward with her medical kit and began treating Lisa's wound. As she worked, she spoke to the VEX-High. "Huntmaster, you've conquered 17 species. But I bet none of them had space travel when you first met them, did they?" Kekthara's eyes narrowed. "They had metal ships for traveling between worlds. But did they have ships that could travel between star systems?" Amy pressed. "Did they have colonies on multiple worlds? Did they have communication networks that could reach across dozens of light years instantly?" The Huntmaster was quiet for a moment. "No," he admitted. "Most were single-world species. Some had settlements on nearby moons. That's the difference," Captain Morrison said. "Humans spread across the galaxy because we're explorers and colonists. We don't just conquer worlds, we make them into new homes. When you attack one human settlement, you're not just fighting that group. You're fighting a civilization that spans hundreds of star systems. The communicator crackled again with another message. This time it was from a human colony called New Geneva. This is Governor Martinez of New Geneva Colony. We have received word of the attack on our diplomatic team. Our defense fleet is standing by to assist. No one hurts our people and gets away with it. Then another voice from a different colony. This is Captain Rodriguez of the mining station. Alpha 7. We're loading up our industrial ships with mining charges. If you need us to blow something up, just say the word. And another. This is the university ship Aristotle. We may just be teachers and students, but we're armed and ready to defend our fellow humans. Lisa watched Kekthara's expression change as he listened to the messages. The Huntmaster was beginning to understand that he hadn't just attacked a small diplomatic team. He had attacked an entire species. You see, Lisa said, her voice getting weaker but still steady. When humans first developed space travel, we didn't spread out to conquer other species. We spread out to survive. We learned early that space is dangerous and hostile, so we developed one simple rule. Humans protect humans, no matter what. Dr. Amy finished bandaging Lisa's shoulder and helped her sit down on a supply crate. The wound was serious, but Lisa would survive if she got proper medical treatment soon. Huntmaster, Ryan Wells said, you wanted to test whether humans are predators or prey. Well, you have your answer. But now you need to decide what you're going to do about it. What do you mean? Kekthara asked. You can continue to see us as enemies, Ryan replied. In which case, you'll spend the rest of your empire's existence fighting an enemy that never gives up and never forgets. Or you can recognize that humans prefer cooperation to conflict. Amy pulled up her tablet and showed the Huntmaster song. Dada, we've been studying your empire's history. You've been expanding by conquest for over 300 years. But your expansion has slowed down recently. Do you know why? Kekthara looked at the data but didn't answer. It's because you're running out of easy targets, Amy continued. The species you can easily defeat are all conquered already. The ones that remain are either too far away, too well defended, or too dangerous to attack. Your empire has reached its natural limit. Captain Morrison joined the conversation. But humans don't expand through conquest. We expand through exploration and colonization. We could teach you how to settle empty worlds instead of attacking occupied ones. There are thousands of habitable planets in this galaxy with no intelligent life on them. Why would you help us? Kekthara asked. We attacked your pack member. Lisa forced herself to stand up again, despite the pain in her shoulder. Because that's what humans do. We turn enemies into allies whenever possible. It's more efficient than constant warfare. She walked slowly toward the Huntmaster, stopping just out of reach of his claws. You bit me because you thought it would prove that humans are weak prey. Instead, you learned that humans are the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. But you also learned something else. What? That we choose not to use that power unless we have to, Lisa replied. I could have had you killed the moment you bit me. One word from me, and every human ship in this system would have opened fire on your vessels. But I didn't do that. The Huntmaster looked confused. Why not? Because dead enemies can't become allies, Lisa said simply. And living enemies eventually become problems for your children and grandchildren. But allies can become friends, trading partners, and mutual protectors. Admiral Stone's voice came through the communicator one more time. Dr. Carter, this is Admiral Stone. Our long-range sensors show approximately 40 human vessels converging on your position. Do you require immediate military assistance? Lisa picked up the communicator. Admiral Stone, this is Dr. Carter. The situation is under control for now. But please keep the fleet ready in case we need them. Understood, Doctor. We'll maintain position at the edge of the system unless you call for help. Lisa looked at Kekthara. Huntmaster, you now have a choice to make. You can declare war on humanity, in which case you'll be fighting a species that never gives up and never forgets. Or you can choose to learn from this experience and find a different path forward. The massive alien was quiet for a long time, thinking. Finally, he spoke. What would this different path look like? Trade, Captain Morrison said. Cultural exchange. Shared exploration of new worlds. Mutual defense agreements. The same things humanity does with all our allies. But first, Lisa added, you need to understand something important. This can't happen again. The Vichai Empire can't attack human civilians or diplomats ever. Because if it does, the response won't be 40 ships. It will be 4,000. Kekthara looked around the room at the humans. They were all injured or exhausted, but none of them looked defeated. Even with acid burns eating through her shoulder, the small female doctor stood tall and spoke with quiet confidence. You are not what you appear to be, he said finally. No. Lisa agreed. We're not. Humans learned long ago that appearances can be deceiving. The most dangerous predator doesn't always look dangerous. The Huntmaster made a decision that would change the history of both species. I withdraw the claim that humans are prey, he said formally. The Vexhai Empire recognizes humanity as apex predators and requests negotiation for peaceful coexistence. Lisa smiled, though she was swaying on her feet from blood loss. Negotiation accepted, Huntmaster. But first, I need medical attention. Getting bitten by acid-fanged aliens is not good for human health. The pain in Lisa's shoulder was getting worse, but she refused to let it show on her face. The acid from Kekthara's fangs was still eating through her flesh, making soft hissing sounds as it destroyed muscle and bone. But she kept talking, her voice steady and calm. Huntmaster, she said, looking directly into his reptilian eyes. You classify species as either predators or prey based on how they look and how they fight. But you've made a fundamental error about humanity. More voices were coming through the communicators now. Ships were arriving in the system. Lots of them. The Vixhai guards were becoming nervous, looking at each other with uncertainty. You see, Lisa continued, every species you've conquered was probably stronger than humans, faster than humans, had better natural weapons than humans. But they all shared one critical weakness. Kekthara was still holding her with his fangs buried in her shoulder, but his attention was split between her words and the growing number of ship signatures his people were reporting. They fought alone, Lisa said. When you attacked them, each individual tried to save themselves. But humans are different. We're pack hunters in the truest sense. When you hurt one of us, you face all of us. She gestured weakly toward Peters. Communicator, where more voices were checking in. Captain Morrison activated our distress beacon before we came to this station. It's connected to every human ship, station, and colony within 50 light years. They all know where we are and what's happening. Amy Foster was recording everything on her tablet, her hands shaking, but her resolve firm. Ryan Wells had moved into a protective position, but he wasn't drawing his weapon. He was waiting, like a predator that knew its moment would come. The fascinating thing about humans, Lisa said, her voice growing stronger despite her injury, is that we became apex predators not through individual strength, but through collective intelligence and absolute refusal to abandon our pack members. She began recounting human history while the Vexhai listened with growing unease. On our world, we hunted creatures called mammoths. These animals were 3 times taller than your tallest warrior, weighed as much as 10 humans, and had natural armor that could stop spears. but humans killed them anyway. Kekthara's grip loosened slightly. How? Persistence hunting, Lisa replied. A human hunting party would track a mammoth for days. The mammoth was faster and stronger, but humans could run longer. We would follow it until it collapsed from exhaustion. Then we would surround it and attack as a coordinated group. More ship confirmations were coming through the communicator. Military vessels, civilian ships, research stations, all responding to the distress call. The message was clear. Attack one human, and you face the entire human species. But the mammoth hunts weren't just about food, Lisa continued. They were about something deeper. You see, when humans commit to something, we don't give up, ever. If a mammoth killed one of our hunters, we didn't retreat. We hunted that specific mammoth until it was dead, no matter how long it took. Captain Morrison spoke up for the first time since the bite. Dr. Carter is telling you the truth, Huntmaster. Humans have one trait that has made us successful. Throughout our history, we never forget, and we never forgive attacks on our people. Amy added her voice to the explanation. Every species you've conquered probably tried to negotiate or surrender when they realized they were losing. But humans don't surrender. We adapt. We learn. We come back stronger. The Huntmaster was beginning to understand that something was very wrong with his assessment of humanity. The small female in his grip should have been unconscious from pain by now, but she was still talking, still explaining, still completely calm. You wanted to know what kind of predators humans are, Lisa said. We're the kind that tracks prey across continents. We're the kind that remembers every slight and repays it with interest. We're the kind that turns every defeat into a learning experience. She pulled out a small device from her pocket, a quantum communicator linked directly to Earth's military command. With her good arm, she activated it and began speaking. This is Dr. Lisa Carter, xenobiologist aboard the exploration vessel Horizon's Edge. Current position, Kepler 442 system. I am transmitting our exact coordinates and a full record of first contact with the Vex High Empire. If I don't report in every 6 hours for the next 72 hours, assume I'm dead and respond according to Protocol 7. The message wasn't directed at the Vex High. It was being broadcast to every human vessel, every colony, every military installation within communication range. But the aliens could hear it clearly. Kithara finally understood what was happening. You are calling your pack for rescue, he said. No, Lisa replied calmly. I'm calling my species for revenge. The response was immediate. Dozens of acknowledgments came flooding through the communication channels. Military vessels confirmed receipt of the message. Colony defense forces reported ready status. Research stations began activating their emergency protocols, but the most chilling response came from Earth itself. A cold, professional voice that identified itself as Admiral Patricia Stone of Earth Defense Command. Dr. Carter, we have received your transmission. Be advised that Protocol 7 has been activated. If you do not report in 72 hours, a full battle fleet will be dispatched to your location with orders to sterilize any threat to human personnel. The Vex High guards looked at each other nervously. They had been monitoring human communications since first contact, but this was different. The humans weren't calling for help. They were calling for war. You see, Huntmaster, Lisa said, the species you've conquered before probably begged for mercy when they were losing. They probably offered to serve you or pay tribute. But humans don't negotiate with people who hurt our family. Amy stepped forward, still recording. In human history, there have been many empires that thought they could intimidate us through shows of force. The Roman Empire tried it. The Mongol Empire tried it. Nazi Germany tried it. They all learned the same lesson. What lesson? Kekthara asked, though he was beginning to suspect the answer. That humans fight hardest when they're Protecting each other, Amy replied, and that we never stop fighting until the threat is completely eliminated. Ryan finally spoke, his voice carrying the quiet confidence of a professional soldier. Huntmaster, you made this personal the moment you decided to hurt Dr. Carter. Now it's not about territory, or resources, or dominance. It's about the fact that you attacked one of our people. More ships were arriving in the system every minute. The Vex-High sensors were detecting dozens of vessels, and more were coming. But these weren't warships coming to rescue the diplomats. They were ordinary humans who had heard that their people were in danger. The cargo ship New Hope you heard earlier, Captain Morrison said, is carrying farming supplies to a new colony. But the captain heard our distress call and diverted course to help us. The research vessel Discovery was studying stellar phenomena 2 systems away, but they're coming here instead. None of these people know us personally, but they're coming. Anyway, because we're human. Lisa could feel her strength fading as the acid continued its work, but her voice remained strong. This is what you don't understand about humanity, Huntmaster. We didn't become apex predators by being the strongest or fastest or most vicious. We became apex predators by being the most stubborn and the most loyal to our own kind. She gestured toward the communicator with her good arm. Every voice you've heard represents hundreds or thousands of humans who are now aware that the Vex-High Empire attacked a human diplomatic mission. They're not coming here to negotiate or surrender. They're coming here to make sure it never happens again. Kekthara was beginning to realize that he had made a terrible miscalculation. He had expected the humans to react like prey, to panic, to flee, to beg for mercy. Instead, they had reacted like the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. You allowed me to bite you, he said slowly. I did, Lisa confirmed, because I wanted you to understand what happens when you hurt a human. We don't just fight back. We make sure it never happens again. To anyone. Admiral Stone's voice came through the communicator again. Dr. Carter, we are also transmitting your situation report to all human colonies and allied species. As of this moment, the Vex-High Empire is considered a hostile entity. All human vessels are authorized to defend themselves with lethal force if approached by Vex-High ships. The Huntmaster finally released his grip on Lisa's shoulder and stepped back. For the first time since the meeting began, he looked uncertain. You have turned your entire species against us, he said. Lisa smiled through the pain. No, Huntmaster. You did that when you decided we were prey. Lisa Carter felt her heart beating faster as Huntmaster Kekthara moved toward her. The massive alien's claws clicked on the metal floor with each step, and acid continued dripping from his fangs. She could see Ryan reaching for his weapon, and Amy backing away in fear. Wait, Lisa said, holding up her hand. Her voice was calm, but everyone in the room could feel the tension. Kekthara stopped moving. Prey flesh speaks when death approaches? This is interesting. Do you beg for quick ending? No, Lisa replied. I want to make sure you understand what you're about to do. The Huntmaster tilted his massive head to one side. Behind him, the other Vex-High watched with hungry eyes. They had probably seen this ritual many times before with other species. You're going to bite me, Lisa continued, because you think it will prove that humans are weak prey animals. But I want you to know something important first. What words do dying prey offer? Kekthara asked. Lisa looked directly into his reptilian eyes. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to run. I'm going to let you bite me. But understand this. I'm choosing to let you do it. This is my decision, not yours. Ryan stepped forward quickly. Lisa, no. We can fight them. We have weapons. Stand down, Commander, Lisa said without looking away from Kekthara. That's an order. Dr. Carter, Amy whispered, you don't have to do this. we can try to negotiate. The time for negotiation is over, Lisa replied. The Hunt Master has made his choice. Now I'm making mine. Kekthara seemed confused by her calm acceptance. You welcome the pain bite? This is not normal prey behavior. That's because humans aren't normal, Lisa said. We don't react to threats the way other species do. When someone hurts one of us, the rest of us remember. Forever. She turned too. Look at her companions. Jake, I need you to record everything that happens here. Every word, every action. Make sure Earth knows exactly what the Vex-High are like. Captain Morrison had been quiet during the entire confrontation, but now he spoke up. Lisa, there has to be another way. There is, she replied. We could run back to our ship and flee to Earth. But then the Vex-High would follow us eventually, and millions of humans would die. Or we could fight here and now, and we would lose because they're stronger than us. This way, only one person gets hurt, and the Vex-High learns something important about humanity. She walked closer to Kekthara, close enough that she could smell the acid scent of his breath. I have one request, Huntmaster. Dying prey may speak final words, he said. When you bite me, look into my eyes. I want you to see what happens when a human chooses to sacrifice herself for her people, because that's what separates us from all the other species you've conquered. Kekthara studied her face carefully. You truly do not fear the pain bite? I fear it, Lisa admitted, but I'm doing it anyway. On my world, we have a saying, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of fear. You're about to learn what human courage looks like. The Huntmaster moved even closer, and Lisa could feel the heat radiating from his massive body. His acid-dripping fangs were inches from her face. You are strange prey, he said. All others beg or fight or flee. You stand and accept. Because I know something you don't, Lisa replied. Humans are persistence hunters. We don't win fights by being stronger or faster than our enemies. We win by being more stubborn than they are. You can hurt me, but you can't break the human spirit. Behind her, she could hear Ryan cursing under his breath and Amy trying not to cry. But she also knew they were learning something important. They were seeing what humans did when they had no other choice but to endure. Huntmaster, she said quietly, before you begin, I want you to understand what's about to happen. You're going to bite me with your acid fangs, and it's going to hurt more than anything I've ever felt. But I'm going to stay standing. I'm going to keep talking to you. And I'm going to make sure you remember this moment for the rest of your life. Kekthara's eyes narrowed. No prey survives the acid bite standing. We'll see, Lisa said. She closed her eyes for a moment, thinking about Earth and all the people she was trying to protect. She thought about her sister back home, about the children who played in Earth's parks, about the millions of humans who didn't even know this meeting was happening. They were all depending on her to show the Vex-High that humanity was not easy. Prey, when she opened her eyes, her fear was still there, but it was controlled. I'm ready, she said. Kekthara reached out with one massive clawed hand and grabbed her shoulder, holding her steady. His grip was strong enough to crush bones, but he was being careful not to kill her immediately. This was supposed to be a slow demonstration of Vex-High dominance. Last words, Softflesh? He asked. Lisa smiled, and it was not the smile of someone who expected to die. On my world, we have another saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. You're about to bite a human being. Now you get to see what that means. The Huntmaster opened his massive jaws and positioned his acid-coated fangs above her shoulder. Lisa could see the poison dripping from his teeth, could smell the burning chemical scent. She knew that in a few seconds, she would be in more pain than she had ever imagined. But she also knew that this moment would change everything. The Vex-High thought they were about to demonstrate their dominance over weak prey. Instead, they were about to learn that humans were the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. "Do it," she said calmly. Kekthara bit down. The acid fangs pierced her shoulder, and immediately Lisa felt like liquid fire was pouring into her body. The pain was beyond anything she had prepared for. It felt like her entire arm was being dissolved from the inside. The acid began eating through muscle and bone, and she could hear the sizzling sound it made. But she didn't scream. She didn't fall down. She didn't beg him to stop. Instead, she kept her eyes open and focused on Kekthara's face. "Is this supposed to hurt?" she asked, her voice steady despite the agony coursing through her body. The Huntmaster's eyes widened in surprise. Never before had prey remained conscious and speaking during the acid bite. Most creatures collapsed immediately from shock and pain. "You feel the burn pain," he said, confused. "All prey falls from burn pain." "I feel it," Lisa confirmed, even as she could feel the acid continuing to eat through her shoulder. "But pain is just information. It tells me I'm injured, but it doesn't tell me to give up." Behind her, she could hear her companions moving, but they weren't running away or begging for mercy. They were positioning themselves like a pack of predators who had just seen one of their own attacked. "You see, Huntmaster," Lisa continued, fighting to keep her voice level, "you made a mistake. You thought that because humans look weak, we are weak, but appearance can be deceiving." The acid was spreading now, burning deeper into her shoulder and sending waves of pain through her entire body. But Lisa had trained herself for years to function under extreme stress. Pain was just another obstacle to overcome. "Humans evolved on a world full of large, dangerous predators," she said, "creatures much bigger and stronger than us. But we didn't just survive. We became the apex predators of our entire planet. Do you know how we did that?" Kekthara was still holding her with his fangs buried in her shoulder, but he was listening now. This was not going the way it was supposed to go. "We did it through persistence," Lisa said. "We would track large prey for days, weeks even. We would follow them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We didn't need to be faster or stronger. We just needed to be more stubborn." She could feel her strength starting to fade as the acid continued its work, but she forced herself to keep talking. "The other species you conquered, they were stronger than humans too, but they all had one thing in common." "What thing?" Kekthara asked, despite himself. Lisa smiled through the pain. "They weren't human." That's when the first response came through on Peter's communicator. A crackling voice from the horizon's edge. "This is Chief Engineer Martinez. We're detecting multiple ship signatures entering the system. Captain, are you all right down there?" Then, another voice. "This is the cargo ship New Hope. We received your distress signal and are moving to assist." And another. "Military vessel Defender responding to emergency beacon. Please advise situation." Lisa looked up at Kekthara, whose expression was changing from confidence to confusion to something that might have been fear. "You see, Huntmaster," she said softly, "when you hurt a human, you don't just hurt one person. You hurt all of us. And we remember." The space station was old and dark. It floated in the asteroid field like a metal island surrounded by floating rocks. Jake Morrison guided his shuttle toward the docking bay, trying to ignore the fact that several Vex-High warships were watching them from a distance. "This place gives me the creeps," Ryan Wells muttered from the seat behind him. The security chief was wearing his best diplomatic uniform, but Jake could see the outline of weapons hidden beneath his jacket. "Stay calm," Dr. Lisa Carter said. "Quietly. Remember, they're watching how we act. If we look scared, it confirms what they already think about us." The shuttle docked with a soft thump. Through the windows, they could see the Vex-High had sent their own shuttle to the station. It was much bigger than the human craft, and looked like it was designed to carry large, dangerous creatures. Dr. Amy Foster checked her tablet one more time. I've been studying their greeting customs, she said. The HFY always determine dominance when they first meet. They use smell, body language, and something they call fear scent to decide who is the predator and who is the prey. What exactly is fear scent? Jake asked. Body chemistry, Amy replied. When most animals get scared, they release certain chemicals through their skin. The HFY can smell these chemicals and use them to identify weak prey. Lisa nodded. So, we need to stay calm and confident, no matter what they do, to try to scare us. Easy to say, Ryan muttered, but he straightened his shoulders and checked his weapon. One more time, they left the shuttle and walked through the station's corridors. The artificial gravity was set for creatures much heavier than humans, making each step feel strange. The air smelled metallic and old, like the station had been abandoned for years before the HFY started using it. The meeting room was large and circular, with a high ceiling that disappeared into shadows. There were no chairs or tables, just an open space with metal walls. As soon as the humans entered, they could hear heavy footsteps coming from the opposite doorway. The first HFY to enter the room was massive. He stood at least 8 feet tall, on 6 powerful legs that ended in claws, capable of tearing through metal. His skin was dark green with black stripes, and his head was long and reptilian with rows of sharp teeth. Acid dripped constantly from his fangs, hitting the floor with a soft hissing sound. Behind him came 3 other HFY, each one nearly as large and intimidating. They moved like predators, their eyes constantly scanning for threats or weaknesses. Their claws clicked on the metal floor with each step. I am Huntmaster Kekthara, the largest one said in heavily accented human language. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. You are the soft flesh from distant feeding grounds. Lisa stepped forward, keeping her hands visible and her posture relaxed. I am Dr. Lisa Carter, representing humanity and the planet Earth. We come in peace, hoping to establish friendly relations between our species. Kekthara's head tilted to one side, and he made a sound that might have been laughter. Peace words. From prey mouth, he said. This is amusing. The Huntmaster began to circle around the human group, his massive form moving with surprising grace. His nostrils flared as he sniffed the air around them. The other HFY spread out, forming a loose circle that surrounded the humans. You smell of metal taste and fear sweat, Kekthara said as he continued circling. Small hunters trying to seem large. But your claws are dull, your teeth flat. You have no acid spit, no venom bite. What kind of predators are you supposed to be? Ryan took a step forward, his hand moving instinctively toward his hidden weapon. We're the kind that doesn't need to prove anything to Ryan, Lisa said quietly, and he stopped talking. She had noticed that Kekthara's eyes had focused on Ryan immediately, recognizing him as the alpha male of the group. This was exactly what they couldn't afford. You interrupt prey speak with challenge words, Kekthara said to Ryan, his voice carrying a pleased tone. You think you are pack leader of these soft flesh? I'm the security chief, Ryan replied carefully. My job is to protect my people. Ah, Kekthara said, and now he was definitely amused. The strongest of the weak flesh claims protection duties. Show me your protection, small hunter. The Huntmaster moved closer to Ryan, close enough that the acid from his fangs could have splashed on the human's uniform. Ryan stood his ground, but Lisa could see the tension in his shoulders. We didn't come here to fight, Amy Foster said, trying to redirect the conversation. We came to learn about each other's cultures and find ways to cooperate. Kekthara turned to look at her, his reptilian eyes cold and calculating. Cooperation is for pack hunters of equal strength, he said. You are not equal. You are small, and weak and slow. Your fear scent grows stronger each moment. Lisa realized the situation was getting worse by the minute. The HFY were treating this like a dominance display, testing the humans to see how they would react to threats and intimidation. Everything the humans did was being interpreted through the lens of predator-prey relationships. "Huntmaster," she said, keeping her voice steady, "perhaps you could tell us about your empire. We've heard that the HFY rule many worlds. 17 hunting grounds," Kekthara said with pride. 17 species that learned the difference between predator and prey. Some learned quickly and became useful servants. Others learned slowly and became food. He gestured with one clawed hand toward a section of the wall where there were strange markings. Lisa realized they were trophies, pieces of bone and metal, from the species the HFY had conquered. The Zilari thought their energy weapons made them strong. Kekthara continued, "But energy burns flesh, while claws tear it apart. The Benthi believed their armor shells protected them. But shells crack under enough pressure. The Morphex tried to hide in their deep ground burrows. But predators always find prey, no matter where it hides." Amy was recording everything on her tablet, but Lisa could see her hands shaking slightly. The casual way the Huntmaster talked about destroying entire civilizations was terrifying. "Each species made the same mistake," Kekthara said, still circling the humans. "They thought tools and weapons and hiding places could change what they were, but nothing changes nature. Predators hunt. Prey dies. This is the way of all things." "And what do you think humans are?" Lisa asked. Kekthara stopped moving and looked directly at her. For a moment, the room was completely silent, except for the soft hissing of acid hitting the floor. "You are the weakest prey I've ever seen," he said finally. "Small bodies, soft. Skin, no natural weapons. You travel in tiny metal shells through the dark between stars, which shows you have some intelligence. But intelligence without strength is useless." He moved closer to Lisa, towering over her small frame. "You try to speak brave words, little soft flesh, but your fear scent tells the truth. Your heart beats fast like frightened prey animal. Your breathing changes when you are scared. Your skin releases chemicals that scream weakness to any real predator." Lisa looked up at the massive alien without flinching. "You're very observant, Huntmaster. You're right that we're not physically strong compared to you. But you're making one important mistake." "What mistake?" Kekthara asked, genuinely curious. "You assume that being physically weak means being helpless," Lisa replied. "But humans became the dominant species on our world without being the biggest or strongest or fastest." The Huntmaster made that grinding sound again. "Impossible. Weak prey cannot become dominant predator. We did it through intelligence, cooperation, and persistence," Lisa said. "We learned to make tools that were better than claws. We learned to work together in ways that made us stronger than any individual. And most importantly, we learned that the best predators are patient." Kekthara studied her face carefully. "You speak riddles, soft flesh. Show me this dominance you claim." Lisa was quiet for a moment, thinking. The situation was spiraling toward violence, and she knew that if the HFY decided to attack, her people wouldn't survive the encounter. But she also knew that running away or showing fear would confirm everything the aliens believed about humans. "The HFY way is to prove dominance through immediate violence," she said finally. "But humans prove dominance differently. We prove it by surviving what others cannot survive." "Explain," Kekthara demanded. Lisa looked around the room at her companions, then back at the massive alien. "You want to test whether humans are predators or prey. Very well, but understand that once you start this test, you have to see it through to the end. And the end might not be what you expect." Kekthara's eyes gleamed with interest. You offer yourself for testing, little soft flesh? I offer all of us, Lisa replied calmly. Do whatever you think proves dominance. But remember that humans judge predators not by how they start a hunt, but by how it ends. The hunt master looked at her for a long time, trying to understand what she meant. Finally, he made a decision that would change everything. Very well, soft flesh, he said. We will conduct the testing ritual. I will choose the weakest among you for the first taste bite. This will show your pack what happens to those who pretend to be stronger than they are. His eyes moved across the human group and settled on Lisa herself. You speak the loudest brave words, little female. You will be first. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and looked at the stars ahead. The ship was called Horizon's Edge, and it was humanity's newest exploration vessel. Jake had been a space captain for 15 years, but today felt different. Today, they were going to meet aliens for the first time. Captain, we're getting close to the Kepler 442 system, said Lieutenant Peter Hayes from his station. Peter was young, maybe 25, with short brown hair and nervous hands that always moved when he talked. He was the ship's communications officer, which meant he would be the first to hear any messages from the aliens. Jake nodded and walked over to the main screen. The system looked normal enough, a yellow star with several planets spinning around. But somewhere in that system lived the HFY, a species that humans had never met before. Earth's government had sent them here to make contact and hopefully start friendly relations. Dr. Carter, please come to the bridge, Jake said. Into his communicator dot. A few minutes later, Dr. Lisa Carter walked onto the bridge. She was a small woman, maybe 5 feet 4 inches tall, with blonde hair tied back in a simple ponytail. She wore the blue uniform of the science division, but her calm eyes showed the intelligence that had made her Earth's top expert on alien cultures. Even though they had never met real aliens before, Lisa had studied every piece of information they had about different species. Any new messages from the HFY? Lisa asked, moving to stand next to Jake. Not since yesterday, Peter replied. But that last message was pretty clear about what they think of us. Lisa pulled up the message on her tablet and read it again. The HFY had sent it in broken human language, which meant they had learned some of Earth's languages somehow. The message was short and not very friendly. Small soft flesh comes to feeding grounds. We hunger. They think we're food, said Commander Ryan Wells as he joined them on the bridge. Ryan was the ship's security chief, a big man with dark skin, and the kind of muscles that came from years of military training. He carried himself like a soldier, which he had been before joining the space service. Maybe, Lisa said, still studying the message. Or maybe that's just how they talk. We don't know enough about their culture yet, Ryan frowned. Doctor, with respect, when someone talks about feeding grounds and being hungry while looking at you, it's pretty clear what they mean. Lisa understood Ryan's worry. The HFY were not like humans. From the few pictures they had been able to get, the aliens looked like giant lizards that walked on 6 legs. They had sharp claws, lots of teeth, and seemed to be about twice the size of humans. Their ships were big and looked like they were built for war, not exploration. Captain, Dr. Amy Foster called from another station. Amy was the ship's cultural specialist, a thin woman with red hair who knew more about alien psychology than anyone else on the ship. I've been studying their language patterns, and I think I understand something important. Jake turned to her. What is it? The HFY seem to divide all life into 2 groups, predators and prey. Everything they say uses hunting words. When they talk about other species, they either call them hunters or food. There's no middle ground. Lisa felt a cold feeling in her stomach. And which group do they think we belong to? Amy looked uncomfortable. Based on their messages and the way they describe us, they think we're prey. They keep calling us soft flesh and small hunters. In their language, that means weak animals that get eaten. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Everyone understood what this meant. The Vex-High had looked at humans and decided they were weak creatures that could be easily defeated. How many star systems do they control? Jake asked. Amy checked her notes. From what we can tell, they rule 17 different worlds. Each one used to belong to a different alien species. Used to belong? Ryan asked. The Vex-High conquered them all. Some of the species still exist, but they serve the Vex-High now. Others. Amy didn't finish the sentence, but everyone understood. Jake looked out at the stars again. Earth's government had sent them here to make peaceful contact with a new alien species. But it seemed like the Vex-High were not interested in peace. They were interested in hunting. Sir, Peter said suddenly, we're getting a new message. The main screen changed to show alien writing that slowly translated into human words. The message was from someone called Huntmaster Kekfara, who seemed to be the leader of the Vex-High in this system. Soft flesh ship approaches hunting grounds, the message read. Small hunters will come to feeding station in asteroid field. We will taste your fear scent and decide if you are worthy of quick death or slow consumption. Come alone. Bring no metal teeth weapons. This is the way of the hunt. Lisa read the message twice. The aliens wanted to meet them at a space station in the asteroid belt around the system's fourth planet. But they also made it clear that they saw this meeting as part of some kind of hunt. This is not a normal diplomatic meeting, Ryan said. They're setting up an ambush. Maybe, Lisa replied. But it might also be how they normally meet other species. If they think all life is either predator or prey, then every first meeting is probably some kind of test. Jake turned to his crew. What do you think? Do we go to this meeting? We have to, Lisa said. This is why Earth sent us here. If we run away now, the Vex-High will think humans are cowards. That might make them decide to attack Earth. Ryan shook his head. Doctor, if we go to that meeting, they might kill us all. They might, Lisa agreed. But if we don't go, they might attack Earth anyway. At least this way, we have a chance to show them what humans are really like. Jake thought about it for a long time. As captain, the decision was his to make. He could order the ship to return to Earth and report that the Vex-High were too dangerous for contact. But Lisa was right. Running away might make things worse. All right, he said finally. We go to the meeting, but we go prepared. Ryan, I want you and 2 security officers to come with us. Bring weapons, but keep them hidden. Yes, sir, Ryan replied. Amy, I want you to study everything we know about Vex-High culture. If this is some kind of test, I want to know the rules. All ready. On it, Captain, Amy said. Peter, send a message back to the Huntmaster. Tell him we accept his invitation and will arrive at the station in 6 hours. What should I say about weapons? Peter asked. Lisa spoke up. Tell him we understand the rules of the hunt, but that humans always carry tools. It's our nature. Jake looked at her. You think that will work? I think honesty is better than lies, Lisa replied. Besides, if they really see this as a hunt, they probably expect us to have some way to defend ourselves. As the ship moved toward the asteroid field, Lisa went to her quarters to prepare. She knew this meeting would be dangerous. The Vex-High were bigger and stronger than humans, and they clearly saw humans as weak prey animals. But Lisa also knew something about humans that the Vex-High didn't understand yet. Humans had become the top predators on Earth, not because they were the biggest or strongest, but because they were smart and they worked together. And sometimes, the most dangerous thing a human could do was let an enemy think they were weak. She looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. The Vex-High thought they were going to meet helpless prey. Instead, they were about to learn what real predators looked like.